Buongiorno, everyone. Welcome to this week's match preview. Wolves away on Sunday. We've got Matt here from Talking Wolves. How are we doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. Thanks for having me on, chaps. It's been a while since we spoke, but looking forward to it.
Long overdue Channel 4 appearance, me and you. Once,
we don't mention it enough, do we?
Right, so we'll just dive straight into it, Matt. I mean, Sunday, Wolves, how are you getting on so far this season? So just looking at your fixtures there, and there's one that stands out to me is obviously the blip against West Ham.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bit of a hammer in there. The only team that we've actually looked impressive against all season, to be honest. But apart from that, you've won the last 2 games in a row, games that you'd expect to win. Are you confident heading into Sunday's game?
You know what? And I tweeted this the other day. I think it sums up the standard of the league this season. We have been dreadful. We have been absolutely awful, and we're sixth, and we've had the best start to a Premier League season we've ever had. So I think that just sums it up. It's been a weird season already. I mean, losing Jota and Doherty, which if you'd have said to me at the start of the season, you'll keep Adama, Jimenez and Neves and lose them pair, I'd have been happy with that. But I don't know, it does seem like we are kind of transitioning a little bit from the team that got us up and the team that got us obviously did so well in the Europa League and stuff. But I just think at the minute it's not quite gelling the way that Nuno wants to. And I think obviously circumstances are different at the minute as they are in the world. But we've won 3 out of our opening fixtures. And I do back us to beat anyone on the day, but I can't call it. You would expect Wolves to beat Newcastle United at the minute, but we're so inconsistent at the minute. Even within games, we'll have 45 minutes where we look piss poor, and then we'll have 45 minutes where you think, bloody hell, we're world beaters. So it all depends what team turns up, and I suspect it's probably the same for you guys. I know that you probably feel you've gone a little bit backwards this season with things, and obviously the takeover not happening and being in limbo. I mean, from the outside looking in as a rival, as Premier League rival, it's kind of, I'm kind of glad that you didn't have the takeover, because I think Newcastle United with kind of an unlimited kitty with the fan base that you've got on the size of the club, I think it would be real problems, not just for Wolves, but I think the top 4 and the rest of the hierarchy. So kind of glad that didn't happen as from a personal point of view. But I think we've got every chance of beating you, and I would be disappointed if we didn't get the win. But like I said, it just all depends on who turns up.
Well, Newcastle have actually got an unreal record at Molyneux.
Yeah.
We're unbeaten in the last 6 visits to Molyneux. We haven't lost there ever in the Premier League. Last game we lost there was in the 70s in the top flight, but we lost there in the Championship.
And the FA Cup.
FA Cup 2002 or something.
Yeah,
so,
I remember that.
It bodes well for us, and we're going to need all those kind of things to go in our favour, because you mentioned you being piss poor. You fucking good job you're not supporting us, mate, because we're on another level. It's going to return this fixture of a 1-1. To be fair, a draw I could probably see happen on the weekend, but I wouldn't even be surprised if we got hammered as well, to be honest. If you caught on the count and you are deadly with Jimenez and Traore, they're all fit and raring to go, I'm a bit worried.
Yeah, and that is one of my issues at the minute. Wolves are trying to, for some reason, the idea is that Wolves are now going to try and transition from an counter-attacking side and have more possession and try and score more goals and get more of a grip on the game, which we've lost 20-odd goals from the side in Jota and Doherty. Yet we've had less possession as well. So I'm not really sure how that's working. On the counter, we look electric, as we have done for the past 2 or 3 years under Nuno, but it's when we try and play this style that just isn't us. That's when we look really tepid. No kind of dynamism or mobility in midfield. And I think we at the minute we are there to be got at. And you've always got a chance with St. Maximin, haven't you? If he's fit and firing, he's like Traore. He can win a game on his own. But again, both of them have got inconsistencies in their games and frustrations. And that's probably why they play for Wolves and Newcastle respectively. That's why it's true, because I think if they kind of iron that out of the game, and listen, they probably both could. I think they would be a real top club who are fighting for Champions League football, etc. But Yeah, it's been such a weird season, but I can't even call it. Like I said, I'd be disappointed if we lost, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Do you reckon it's still getting over the fact? I mean, you missed out on European football in the last game of the season, wasn't it? Was it a goal difference you missed out on?
It was, I think, it was goal difference in the end or a point. It was margins, but we had it in our hands. And if you'd have said to me at the start of the season last season, you'd get to Europa League quarter final and you'd finish 7th, I'd have snapped your hand off. But the circumstances changed before lockdown. I think we were like 2 points off 3rd, and we ended up 7th. From the Burnley game towards the end of last season, we threw it away. There's a couple of games where we looked really slow and tepid, and again, no dynamism. And it was in our hands, and we chucked it away. And Wolves fans have called me out on this, where I said we bottled it really. But I know the professional footballers, and it is their profession. But for me, they did bottle it. It was in our hands, and to go to Chelsea on the last day needing a result, it's just ridiculous. When if we'd have beaten Burnley the week before, we would have guaranteed us European football. But having Europa League was a welcome distraction for me. I loved it. It was so good going abroad and that, and seeing Wolves in different countries. But I think this season it would have been a bridge too far for us anyway, with how small our squad is.
Aye, that's the same thing I miss, man. Like, I was too young to when Newcastle were in the Champions League, and then even in the Europa League. Even in the Europa League, and now just early stages of high school. So that's where I want us to get back to, because just like trips away. I mean, like Arsenal fans that whinge about going to Kazakhstan, and I'd love to go to Kazakhstan.
Oh, mate, it's all about. I always said, growing up and living in Birmingham, where I do, you'd see the Villa in Europa League and stuff, and having a rich European history. Seeing going away and having teams like Ajax come to Villa Park, and you think, God, I would kill for something like that. And then we finally got it. I went to as many European away games as I could. Espanyol was good. Braga was really good, but I got battered by the police for no reason. They're brutal out there. Honestly, God, I've never seen anything like it. Anyone could have got it. Women, kids, blokes. It was a free for all. But growing up, I was like, as long as I get to see Wolves away in a European competition, I will be happy. And to go away and do that with my mates and 5,000 other like-minded Wolves fans, it's a memory I'll never ever forget. And watching us in League One, being where Sunderland are, I thought I'd throw that in there. It's we've been right in the doldrums, and it's looked like there's been no hope. So to have such a meteoric rise in a few years, it's still great times to be a Wolves fan. I know I've probably come across fairly fucking negative, but it still is a good time to be a Wolves fan, all things considering.
Okay, what do you reckon? Heading into this game on Sunday, Ian?
It's like what was said before. Like, it's very even. I was looking at the past few scorelines, and the last 3 have been 1-1. I think over the last few years, it's either gone one way or another, 2-1 to either side. So, yeah, I think it will be close. But as you mentioned before, Wolves are going through a bit of a transitional period. And I was going to ask you, Matt, about what you think about that transitional period going forward, because the games I've looked at Wolves this season, like, it has been very inconsistent, as you said. Like, the 4-1 loss to West Ham was very surprising. But even like the team lineup, like Traore hasn't really been getting much time, like no starts. I think the same for Ruben Neves. You've got Max Kilman coming in. Podence's doing really well. Jimenez is still scoring.
Oh, Jimenez would score, mate. He'd score anywhere. He's that good. I do, and it might seem a bit biased. And even I've said this before, I don't think he's world class. But now, the last season, I genuinely think he does. He leads that line so well for us. And if we don't have Jimenez, we're 12th or 13th, 14th in the league. He's just superb. Everything goes through him. But it has been really inconsistent. And I've been banging the Adama Traore drum since he came in. And Wolves fans, initially, the large majority didn't like him, didn't take to him, wasn't good enough. And I said, and it's well documented because I'm proud of this, I was like, give him time. When you've got that much raw ability under a coach like Nuno, if you get it right, you'll have some player on your hands. Mm-hmm. And we have got some player on your hands. But the problem is, he's better off the bench, but obviously no player wants to be an impact sub. Yeah. But he doesn't quite have and going back to why he's probably still at Wolves, there's still things in his game where he might not press as well as Neto or Podence, and he gets caught napping sometimes. He's even played right wing back when he's been like away with the fairies and stuff, and it's just there's just something not up there that's wired properly. I don't know what it is. He just seems a bit thick, and like
it's all there.
It is, mate. It's the same with me. That's what people say about me. There's just something about him where you can see Nuno gets frustrated, and he is a better option off the bench. But I mean, what an option to have off the bench, and he's just about to sign a new contract with Wolves. I think he's having 100 grand a week, which isn't too bad. But again, like you said, he's been coming off the bench, not really starting many games. Neves hasn't had that many starts. Moutinho looks over the hill somewhat, and it breaks my heart because Moutinho in his first season is probably the best player I've ever seen at Wolves because everything he did was right, but now he's 33, 34. You can see like his little legs are going. And it's like when you grow up and see your nan and granddad and you notice they're starting to get old, and you're like, fucking hell, he's only got a few years here. And it's like, it is hard. That's how I feel with Moutinho because it is an absolute love affair between him and the fans, but it has been weird. I mean, even Semedo at right wing back, I mean, it's been a dead cert to be a great signing, but even he's had games where you think, fucking hell, like, what are you doing?
He hasn't been as good as I was expecting him to be. Like, I thought he was going to set the world on fire. But I think with Moutinho, I thought he was a bit of a has-been when he signed, but the last couple of seasons he's been there, he's been unreal. It had it had a shade of Cambiasso at Leicester for me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But he's been absolutely unreal. It's just now that he's still starting. He's still getting game time ahead of Ruben Neves.
It's probably a little bit rude of me to say that he's over the hill, but there's some games where you think like he's just lost that little yard, and you can see like players get away with him easily, but I could see that in the first half against Leeds. Like Leeds really marshalled the midfield against him and Dendoncker. And in the second half, it was like Moutinho was like 24. He was everywhere. He was all over Leeds like a wet fucking flannel. and Dendoncker, he was the same. And I really like Dendoncker. He's such a versatile player, and he's got legs and gets forward, gets back. He's really dynamic. So I couldn't even tell you what the team is for Sunday. I really couldn't. There's that many places up for grabs at the minute. Kilman's come in and done a really good job. Got himself a new deal. Again, we signed him from the National League when we were in the Prem. So obviously, kudos to the scouting team. But it's mental. Johnny's out injured. It was a massive miss for us because Johnny is superb. He's so consistent. Does everything right. Great going forward. Great defensively. So it is a bit of a transitional period. And I mean, look at the results we've seen. We've seen Villa pump Liverpool 7-2. I think we're going to get these kind of results up until Christmas once it's settled down because the standard of football at the minute is dreadful. I don't know about the games that you've been involved in. Obviously, the standard of football that you play is pretty shit anyway. But
we could have went second in the league if we beat Man United at the weekend. Like you said that at half time, I was like, how could we ever possibly be second in the Premier League with the football that we've played this season? That just tells you everything that you need to know about this season. It's been wild. Just like this year. It's just 2020 in a football Premier League season.
It's absolutely mental. Like I said, look, we've been so uninspiring, and I'd say on the large part, not if you looked at the performances, we've gone backwards. We really have. Yet we're sixth and we're shit. Like how. It's just the standard of the league is so bad at the minute.
So, if you since you went backwards, then is Nuno ever going to be under pressure of losing his job?
I think the only way that Nuno loses his job is if he walks. I do criticise him a fair bit, and it's kind of blasphemous in Wolverhampton to do stuff like that. But there's sometimes he's a little bit frustrating in terms of his stubbornness and his approach, and we're never gonna win anything really by playing five at the back and only ever scoring one goal. It's we'll play like when we played Stoke in the Carabao Cup against their B team essentially, and we lost. And we played like five at the back, and there's not always.
Sounds like we've got something common here.
It's not a need. Five at the back. There's no need for us to play five at the back against certain teams. But then I think it's got us this far. I would stick to that philosophy if I was Nuno. It's easy for a fan from the outside to put their 50p in because we don't really know, do we? We don't train with the players each day. But listen, he's an absolute legend amongst Wolves fans. The way he got us playing and the way he kind of got us up the leagues and stuff and never be forgotten. But I think if he was going to go, it would have been in the summer. If it had gone, I'd have been heartbroken, but I'd understood because maybe it had got a little bit stale. But hopefully, Wolves 2.0 under Nuno this season can really kick on because we've got some really, really good young players. I mean, Neto's been superb.
Yeah, I like him.
Someone who's 19. He just grabs the game by the bollocks and says, "Like, come on, let's have it." It's like similar to how Jota was when he first came to Wolves, and to have so much confidence and belief in your own ability at that age. And he's quick, he's skillful, goes past players really easy, and can finish. Like I said, it's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of like the young players we're coming through. But I just wish we'd signed someone who wasn't Portuguese. That'd be great.
I love that third strip. It's class how you got that third strip which is essentially a fucking Portugal top line.
Yeah, it's just a big fuck you to everyone who takes a piss. But on a serious note, though, that's another thing that concerns me somewhat. Is a lot of our transfers do come through George Mendes or Mendes clientele, which, I mean, it's a good kind of pond to drink out of because some of the players that he's got are superb. But then you see players like Dani Olmo, who went from was it Dinamo Moscow somewhere to Leipzig. Wolves tried to sign him and Nuno turned him down because he didn't think he was good enough. And I can't help but feel if he was a Mendes client, it would have got him in. So that's the only thing that really concerns me, that we're missing out on other players in kind of priority over Mendes clients. But listen, it's got us to a fucking good place so far. So to enjoy the rise whilst we can.
Who was that young striker you signed in the summer? Was that you who signed him? And he's playing
Silva, yeah, 35 million. It was Talking Wolves have reported on it like for like 2 years that Wolves were looking at him, and I think the opportunity came because Porto were fucked financially, and they needed a bit of a financial package from Wolves. Obviously, they're feeder club now. For Fabio Silva, he's so highly rated in Portugal and at Porto. I mean, won the Golden Boy, the young fucking player awards. He was shortlisted for that. He scored like 25 goals in 28 games for Porto B. Like, he's a real talent, but 35 million is a lot of money for an 18-year-old who hasn't had much senior football. But this is what I'm saying. It screams of Mendes, but it's, if he comes good and fulfills his potential, he'll go for double, triple that. But we've got a situation at Wolves similar to Tottenham where you bring a striker in, they're going to be second fiddle, and who wants to be doing that? So I think it's a good option to have in terms of he'll learn and be nurtured by Jimenez and continue his development, and he will probably get a few games here and there, but he's not going to dislodge Jimenez. There's not many strikers who would.
It seems like a bit of a chop man signing that.
He's right about the behind the scenes, the Mendes stuff. That's just like a fucking, just for the money in it, for the connections, really.
It is a strange one. Like Gestifute, who's Mendes' agency, Fosun, who's the conglomerate who come together to buy Wolves, they've got like a 40% stake in Mendes' agency. So it's all a big fucking carousel, mate. I wish I could get in there or something like. It's like jobs for the boys, isn't it? Really, with everybody's class.
It's like on Chomp Man, isn't it? If you get like two managers and you take like Hereford and Barcelona or something, and you just give yourself loads and loads of money. That sounds like what that is. Like, I'll give you 35 million for that kid. All right,
like with Grasshoppers in Switzerland, like big historic club in Switzerland, we've partnered with them. Fosun have bought them. And we're sending all our like under 21s to Grasshoppers, and if you're Grasshoppers who are like this illustrious club in Switzerland, think, what the fuck's happened to our club? Like, it's ridiculous, but I think that's just the rise of Wolves as well. Like, it's just I can't quite believe how much we've grown in terms of commerciality and on the pitch. It's fucking mental.
Do Wolves have the best English centre back at the minute, Alan Cody?
No, but they've got the best English sweeper. it's a strange one, mate, because I've got all the time in the world for Connor Cody. We've met him a few times, and he's exactly how he is on TV. And I think now he's captain England. He's like the nation's sweetheart. He's a blast. But in that sweeper role in the back five, there's no one better. His range of passing is superb. He's good defensively. Could be better, but he's actually quite good but his leadership skills are second to none, and he's played that role now for 4 years, so there's no one better. But in a back four, I have my question marks, because if he gets pinned against someone like Mitrovic, or even when you had Rondon, it was curtains, because he just can't deal with it physically. I mean, he's not even the smallest; he's like 6'2", but he's just his frame, and he's not great across the ground either. But he's got it up there, and he can pass the ball like I've never seen anyone. I think he's got the best long passes in the Premier League from a defender, even more than Trent and Van Dijk. So I just love him, mate. He's just a credit to the club.
You'd see the impact he had on the England team, like how just someone who's a voice and a proper character and a proper leader, because that's what we lack massively in Ireland. The other night, I was good crack with Jamie Carragher, and Jamie Carragher was trying to tell him that Klopp was going to get him to replace Van Dijk.
When he said Max Kilman had got man of the match, did he? He's right. He's just brilliant, and then. I had a good chat with him at the end of the season dinner awards, and at the time I was seeing a girl from like his neck of the woods up in Liverpool, and we were chatting for like 10 minutes just about like family and stuff. I'm like, I've never met this fucker before. That's cool, that. And you get some players and some players like Jota are dead moody. Jimenez is really like quite quiet, but then you got Cody. He's a sort of fella you'd want to go to the pub with and just get absolutely leathered. So if you are watching Connor, let's go to the pub there. I'm sure he is. But yeah, that's
what you want from someone in your club, like, and it just makes it just feels a bit more homely, and it's just having a nice guy like that, innit?
When you've got such a
St. Maximin, because St. Maximin is the player, like fans on Twitter and that makes a difference.
You want someone like that, don't you? Who can kind of resonate with the fan base, and especially at Wolves, where you've got such a large kind of Portuguese contingent and international, really. I mean, there's all sorts of nationalities in there now. To have that leader who's English and he's down to earth and he's great with the fans, great with the media, he's kind of the glue, I feel, that brings it all together. And all right, he might not be the greatest footballer and the greatest centre-half we could bring in, but he more than makes up for it in terms of his leadership skills, and it's just him as a bloke. He's just superb.
Reitland lads, is there anything else you want to talk about? Keg, do you have anything else?
Nah, pretty much touched the basics, I think.
Matt, anything you want to know about Newcastle? How are you going to easily win the game on Sunday?
I think if we are going to win the game, it's going to be. I think it's going to be Jimenez who's going to make the difference.
Yeah.
We look a little bit more solid at the back now compared to what we did at the start of the season, but it's very much mix and match at the minute. Who plays where, I don't know, but I can see us winning it. But I don't think it's going to be an expansive game of football. They're not going to be bringing a DVD out of it. I'm expecting a kind of a sloppy, scrappy kind of game. We might nick it 1-0, maybe 2-1. But what do you guys think? Do you reckon you've got a? I mean, you've always got a puncher's chance in the Premier League, haven't you? But
yeah, definitely.
I think it suits us. It definitely suits us being away from home. We'll let you have the ball. We'll let every team have the ball, and then Brucey will just cook that St. Maximin, pull someone out of the bag. Basically, that's his tactics. So I can see with like how recent it has been with draws, how common they are. I wouldn't be surprised with a 1-1. But honestly, I've got a bad feeling that you might just have a life and just win like 3-1, something like that. But I'll be optimistic for now. But I'm not after the Man U game, so it was just so fucking shit.
Yeah.
But I'll go 1-1. Stick with the 1-1.
1-1. Are you boys happy with your summer business? I know obviously Wilson he's proven if his knees aren't made of glass as usual. Fraser's obviously a solid signing. Were you expecting more, or were you? I mean, you had to replace Joe Linton, didn't you? Because he's Barnett shit. That's why.
Happy with the business. Like, still got Wilson, Fraser, and that kept St. Maximin. Hendrick on a free was Aries, but we're still just lacking. I mean, we're still lacking. Really, we've got the left back Jamal Lewis. He's looked a bit dodgy positional wise so far. We'll see how he gets on. But the main area, mate, is the manager. Like, we haven't strengthened the manager. We've still got Bruce, so we're fucked. We're absolutely fucked. He's not getting anything out of the best players. Not getting anything out. I mean, Almiron can't even get a game these days, which is a crying shame because he's one of our best players. I'd still like another centre midfielder, someone who's box to box, someone who keeps the ball better than a Shelby. But now the squad's good. The start 11 is good, should I say? But the squad isn't. The depth isn't that great. off the bench and that. But the main issue is the manager. Like,
who would you bring in now? Obviously, Rafa, who you want, but who realistically is available and who wants that poison chalice? Because it's not a nice job to have, is it? Because you've got, on the one hand, you've got to keep Mike Ashley happy. On the other hand, you've got to keep the fans happy, and the two don't marry up, do they?
No, it's keeping Mike Ashley happy. Yeah,
because Mike Ashley
wouldn't you
Bruce will be a yes man, and Ashley will take 70th. So we're fucked, really. But if you want to try and, there's still better. You know, you look at what Potter's doing at Brighton, out the football he's playing on a budget. So you'd even rather have him. I'd give Eddie Howe a chance. He tried to play good attacking football, although he did eventually go down. But Bruce has got records of going down. So realistically, mate, we're going to actually probably Eddie Howe.
You'll stay up though. There's no doubt you'll stay up.
I think it depends on which manager would actually accept the Newcastle job, because any self-respecting manager wouldn't go to Newcastle under Mike Ashley. Like, it's a proper dictatorship. Like, I'd lose respect for any decent manager that actually came to Newcastle. Like, Rafa was a complete one-off. He took the job with about 4 weeks left of the season when we were already relegated, and he'd just been sacked from Real Madrid. So anyone that would get to replace Bruce will just be another Steve Bruce. So we need to be very careful. It's just going to be a like for like, someone plucked up from the Championship, some has been like a Tony Pulis or someone like that. Like no one that we would actually want.
It's definitely a poison chalice, mate. You're going in there and you're going to be fighting on all fronts, whether it's against the fans or Ashley. So it's a really tough job, but maybe better the devil, It really is a tough one.
It is.
Keg, what's your score for Sunday?
I think the most optimistic I can get is a 2-1 Newcastle win. I don't want to think Wolves can win, of course, but I don't see many goals in it. Like, I'd like to say maybe it's like a 2-2, like we've been close in the last few years, a 2-2 or a 1-1, but I don't see us getting 2 goals. Wolves are too good defensively, and if Sir Maximin doesn't turn up, if Wilson's not getting any feed, we're going to be shooting blanks. So I think 1-1's the best result we can possibly get, to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, but like I said, it's not going to be a classic by any stretch of the imagination.
It never is.
No,
not box office, Matt. What were your thoughts on that now? Bit of box office football, 15 quid.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? But I don't really get the uproar. Like, no one's asking you to pay for it, and if you've got more than one brain, so you'll just stream it anyway. So I know the premise is, and it's just not good, and it's ripping fans off, and it's more greed, especially with the Project Big Thick Picture and all that. It all kind of comes together at the minute. It's like what is happening with the game, but you won't be catching me spending $14.99 on a Premier League game when you've got other streaming platforms out there, and like everyone does it. So yeah, I mean, I don't even have Sky or anything or BT, so there's no way I'm going to pay for $14.99 for a pay-per-view. Goodbye.
Nice one. All right then, mate. Well, nice having you on. Check out Talking Wolves. The link will be in the description once this video is up. And best of luck the rest of the season after Sunday, mate.
Cheers, boys. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure, mate. See you later.
Bye.